Alright, time to try and make the thin rip jig for the table saw. First, I need to have the little movable piece that would go out and set the actual depth, more or less. So I had a thin piece of aluminum that was left over from something, ran my tap down, used the little brass bit, then I'm going to try and make a little wood piece. First cut that off, then get it approximately sized, then make a spot that I can put the little T-nut up into. So set that for height, and because that's not really long enough to hold properly, use the little clamp. That works great. I marked about how wide it needed to be, and then just move it over and cut the slot. This was fine. It held it nice and stable. My fingers were not near the blade, and there you can see it fits. So that's good. Now I need to drill some holes, because I'm going to try and do 1/4-20 tapped holes down in the aluminum that I can run bolts down through the down through the board into, and then once I have that, I can make the holes. And because I wanted to get lined up, I had 2 number 7 drill bits, so use that as my pin. That all worked. And let's see, what am I going to do next? Oh yes, the wonderful tapping. It at least worked. It didn't go horrible. I did need the larger tap handle like you see me using, but it worked. So that was good. It was not it's a lot of spinning, but you know, that's what happens with tapping. And the one hole worked, and then back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. Lots of forward and back. And then slowly get down in, then spin it back out. And then test the little bolt, see if it screws in there, screws in there. Alright. Here we go. Try the bolts. I think that will work. So that should be good to test. And that slides in there nice. And ideally you'd get this set up. This was just a piece of scrap aluminum I had laying around, and I figured, well, I want something flat. And it's like, wait a minute, if I put threads on there, I had this little brass ball in that whole set of miscellaneous hardware I got from my neighbor, and that way there's something round that the board can go on. So I'm still not sure how I'm going to get this part working. That goes in, and if I crank this down the correct way, that's locked in tight. Obviously, I would not want to have it here. It's not supposed to go there. This is supposed to go down here so that you line the stuff up and then it's not pinching the thin strip when it gets up to this part. It locks in nice and solid. So what I did there, so basically the groove is deeper than what this sticks up out, therefore that gives a gap, and then when the bolt pulls on it, it pulls the aluminum piece up into the T-slot, and that's what locks it down. That part works. Now I get to figure out if I'm going to do it this way, or if I'm going to use this, or how all I'm going to get that set up. Not sure, because the problem with that I'm running into, if I have this in here, I don't want this at the top, because then I can't run short pieces if I have it down further, such that, you know, short stuff will work, because that's what a lot of other ones you can buy and ones people make can do. Then the question is, where's that going to go? Should I put it on the side and have it slide back and forth on the side? That could work, because this is at least a flat side, unlike these sides which are not necessarily flat. So that something like that could work. Alright, now I'm going to cut the little slot in the wood to put that little marker piece in, and I wanted it to be a close friction fit, so I didn't measure, but I got it close and it worked. And then I realized it's a little bit too deep because I need the aluminum to stick out slightly, so I figured, alright, well, I'll just take a fraction off, playing around to get that thing set so I can hold it without my fingers getting in the way. Trimmed the one side off, that was fine. Trim the other side off, and that's better. And now I found a piece of aluminum to put across there and a little clamp piece that goes around. So screw the one piece on, that will hold the back of that aluminum piece in place, and that's not in the right place. Move the drill. We can't see what you're doing. You're doing it wrong. Oh, there you go. So put a washer underneath, and this was not a good setup. Then put a screw down in. That will at least hold that piece.
Alright. I don't know if it's going to work. It's a project. We'll see how it happens. So, what all I found for all my parts and pieces, I had this longer aluminum strip. I cut a slot in the side that was slightly less deep than this is wide, so when this aluminum strip on the side is pulled in tight, it has friction against this aluminum strip for going in and out, so that should give it some, it doesn't easily move, which is good. It's okay if it moves slightly as long as it's difficult to do it. And then I had this wraparound piece of aluminum from something. It basically looks the same on the other side. That just happened to be almost the right thickness. I just put a washer underneath to give it a little bit of space. You can kind of see underneath there, assuming it holds still, which it won't. Yeah, you can see the washer underneath there for the spacing. And then because I don't want to scratch up the table, I put a piece of tape over it. Hopefully that's going to be fine. It's at least going to be something. We'll see. It's not supposed to be moving a whole lot when it's pushing down, so I'm hoping that's going to work. So the way this is supposed to work is this slides in here. I'm still not sure this is going to be down far enough, but I can always adjust that later if need be, or put something else on the end instead of this, because that's just drilled with 1/4-20, so I can just put anything else on there for a stopper thing. But if this is like that, you would... Hey, there we go. That's how it's supposed to work. How about that? Amazing. Something actually worked like it was supposed to. Oh, I gotta lock this in first in order to get the sizing right. That's locked in. Put that there. Slide that out. That would be 0. So then if I want just a fraction, like a really tiny amount, I could then push this in, screw that down. That didn't do it. I'll have to figure something else out, but that's fine. I think I'll put something so that it goes down and presses on there. So let me try and do that.
Alright, so now I'm trying to drill to put in a set screw. And initially I tried a 5/16, and because that was just thin sheet metal, it did not tap correctly, and there wasn't enough there to do the thing, and it just slid in and out. So then, alright, that's fine. Take that one out, and just try this next size up. Let's just try a 3/8. Hey, that one actually worked. So there was enough sheet metal there that a 3/8 went down in. So this is what it looks like when it's finished. And all the sides, yeah, 7/16 there, 3/16 there.
That seems like it worked. Not horrible, at least. I may have to practice how tight I squish it up against this, but this doesn't move. With normal pushing up against, that stays stiff, so this part's okay. It doesn't move. It's out of the way from everything else, which is what it's supposed to be. I'm not sure this is the best setup, but I got two basically identical thin strips. I mean, this side's a little bit thicker, but I think I moved stuff slightly. And those are pretty thin strips. And I can fix that thickness on the drum sander as need be, because there's little saw marks and stuff, so I would want to run that through the drum sander possibly anyway. Let's see how thin those are. Alright, I don't know if I'm going to be... This cord, I don't like the way this new phone works with the stuffs, because I have to hold it sideways to get the right orientation, which is annoying. So let's see how small this is, or how thin this got. That's a 3/64 strip. So that's pretty good. Obviously, if I had it adjusted slightly different, it might go thinner. I don't know that I ever need thinner than 3/64. But let's see what this one was. That one was 3/64. What is this one? Oh, come on. Stupid little wheel. 3/64. That is a repeatable number. So I made 2 strips that are 3/64, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's nice. It wasn't, this wasn't how I thought it was going to turn out. But then again, I don't have all the unlimited, scraps and things to make it out of. And this was just literally stuff I had sitting around in my bins. So, scrap piece of wood, couple bolts, washers, the little T-nut I made the other day, a piece of aluminum from something that was just on my shelf. This I had taken off of something. This was, just a screw I had. That was one of those little set screws for my set screw bin. This was again a piece of scrap, and this was out of the miscellaneous parts that I got from my neighbor. So that is a successful thin rip jig.